So for this recipe, I'm actually going to lay everything out because there's a lot of small components to it. So there's a red pepper, there's a jalapeno, which you can sub a green bell pepper if you don't want the spice. I also have 2 tomatoes right here, and then I also have 3 cloves of garlic. If you really like garlic, you can add more. I have about 1/4 of an onion. Sorry, I kind of swapped the order of those, but that's how it goes. So my camera was being a little rude, so my focus is a little off on some of my close-ups, but that is vegetable broth, sorry. That is cumin, and then I also have chili powder that I have in my pantry. Here's some good old Morton salt. Up next I have kidney beans. They are my absolute favorite. Aside from chili, I love to use them as a protein topper in salads. Here is Trader Joe's fire roasted corn. It is so good. It's a total upgrade from just regular corn niblets that you can get. Those are my pinto beans that I cooked at home, and you can use any kind of beans really. So here we're getting into business. I fast forwarded through this because it's pretty boring, but I am just dicing onion to throw into my chili base along with the garlic. I'm also going to cut up the red pepper and the jalapeno, and they are all going to go into the big pot with some olive oil. So if you're really sensitive to spicy foods, you can either opt out on the jalapeno, you can take out the seeds and it'll make it less spicy, or you can use a green bell pepper. The reason I have the jalapeno is obviously for the spice. If you care at all about adding more color to your soup, then you can do the green bell pepper, but the world is your oyster, so you may adapt your recipe as you would like. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to toss everything I just diced up in some olive oil. You want your olive oil to get a little warmed up, and then you're going to throw everything in, and it's just going to marry all of the flavors together. And you know that smell when you're walking around your neighborhood and it just smells really, really good and you almost want to follow it into whoever's house it's coming from? That is the smell. It smells so, so good, and it's just a really simple base, and hopefully it will make your chili just as delicious. Here I'm doing some more chopping. This is the red bell pepper. You can choose whatever color of bell pepper you wish. This recipe is a lot of chopping, surprisingly, so you'll get a solid arm workout. It's not too difficult, and I totally spaced out on it. I have a crock pot here at home, but if you want to use a crock pot instead of a stovetop pot, you may do so. It's probably easier. You can just throw everything in here that I have chopped up, and it just cooks on its own instead of you having to watch it. But this recipe itself on the stovetop is super easy, and it doesn't take more than 20 to 25 minutes. Here I'm just mixing everything up that's sauteing in the olive oil so it doesn't stick. And here's some more chopping. This is the tomatoes that I'm dicing up. After I let the tomatoes saute with the rest of the stuff in the olive oil, I'm going to add all of the liquids. First, I'm going to start off by measuring out 1 cup of vegetable broth. If you are not vegetarian, then you can do chicken broth. Otherwise, you can also use vegetable broth. So I'm gonna pour that sucker in, and then I'm gonna follow it up with another cup, but this time it's gonna be a cup of water. So if you end up doing a bigger recipe, just do 1-to-1 of broth to water, otherwise it gets really salty. Then we're gonna add in some tomato sauce. You can opt in to add tomato paste because it makes it a little thicker, but when I add my quinoa at the end, it actually thickens it up a lot. So I just choose to not use tomato paste, but if you would like tomato paste in addition to the sauce, you can do that as well. Here we're gonna add a heavy ½ teaspoon of our spices, which are the chili powder and the cumin. So I do just a little over ½ teaspoon because I like the flavors a lot, and it just makes your house smell so flippin' good. Now I'm going to add in the final toppings. So here goes the fire roasted corn that I get from Trader Joe's. I have my red kidney beans, and I'm also going to add the pinto beans that I make at home from scratch. You can honestly add whatever choice of beans that you like. I just really like these two put together. This is a little up close of what it looks like in the beginning. Now, while I let that simmer, I actually like to take advantage of this time and multitask to clean my area. Otherwise, it kind of clutters my mind and I can just cook easier and faster, more efficiently when my space is clean. Now that I'm done cleaning, I'm going to cover my pot, and I would say maybe a minute or two later, after it started boiling, I added some quinoa to the mix, and that is going to be some more protein just so that it's nice and filling. It's also going to thicken up my chili. I do just over a cup, and I let it sit in the pot for a few minutes so that it really soaks in all of the flavor. And now is the moment of truth. So after about a 20-minute process, I am now going to scoop some of my chili into my ramekin. I'm going to top my chili. This part is completely optional, but I really love to put cheddar cheese on top to make it like oozy and melty, and it makes it so much more delicious. And I also put on just a little dollop of sour cream and some purple onion to give it a nice little spicy punch. You can also make your own cornbread or buy cornbread. I know that's a typical side with it. I don't really care for it with chili. I think that's enough. If I'm craving something salty with it, I actually really like to do tortilla chips, so you can try that as well. And that's that for the chili recipe. I really hope that yours turns out super delicious. I will insert a cute photogenic picture of this bad boy at the end, and thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye!